Thank you for your interest in the COMET Farm Animal Agriculture tool. My name is Haley Nagel and I'm the Outreach and Education Specialist for the COMET Farm team. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the herd data copy feature, a new update to the Animal Agriculture module as of September 2020. At this point, I've already defined our accounting activity as animal agriculture. We've also set our location and we have defined our animal types as dairy dry cows, which I've selected in this box here. We have also set our new flexible baseline from 2010 to 2015. For more information on the new flexible baseline period for the animal agriculture module, another new feature as of September 2020, please check out that video on the COMET Tools YouTube channel. I will now select Save and Continue. So the new copy feature is a function meant for users to be able to copy data from one herd of the same animal category type to another herd in that same animal category type. So remember, COMET Farm is going to define our herds as animal groups of the same category, but their manure, feed type, or housing is managed differently. So for example, we would need to account for two separate herds if half of our dairy dry cattle manure treatment was primarily composted, while the other half was managed with a temporary stack or long-term stockpile. So on this panel, we're going to add our additional herd, which I have here. I've labeled it temporary stack, and your first herd will always be labeled your default herd. So I'm going to select Save and Continue here. This will take you to the animal details page for your first herd. To check to make sure that you are entering data for the correct herd, you can look at the left pane here under the animal category type. So the animal category and herd that you are currently inputting data for will be highlighted in blue with the green check mark next to it. So we are currently entering animal details for our default, our original herd, for our dairy dry cows. For the sake of this tutorial, I have already entered the data for our default herd here. Once you have entered the animal details for your first herd, you can select Save and Continue. When you do this, COMET Farm will prompt you with a window that lets you know that you have completed entering the animal details for your first herd, and you will be proceeding to entering the animal details for your second herd. So I'm going to select Next here. The user has two choices. You can continue to alternate between entering your animal details for each herd, or you can use this top navigation map to navigate through all of the animal characteristics for one herd, and then copy these characteristics to the second herd. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that by starting with going back to our default herd. So for our default herd, we have entered our animal details, and our next step would be moving to the types of feed. Our types of feed are already entered for our default herd. So we're going to move on to our housing details. So our housing details are already entered as well because this is the demonstration project. And then we're going to move to manure system types. Check to make sure this data is already entered. Manure system details. What's next? And then our final pane is the manure details pane. So I'm going to select that one. So these are all entered already. So we just completed the data set for our first herd here. And I'm going to scroll to the very bottom to the Save and Continue option. COMET Farm will present you several choices. So you can select Cancel to continue entering data for your default herd. You can select Next to move to the next pane of the temporary stack herd that you have not completed entering data for. Or we can select Copy to copy our data from our default herd over to our temporary stack. So I'm going to select Copy. So you may be asking yourself, why would you copy the data from one herd to another if COMET Farm defines herds as groups of animals of the same animal category type, but whose feed type, housing, or manure is managed differently? So the herd copy feature is there so you can minimize your data input. Well, I'm going to copy the data that we just entered for the default herd in year 2010. I would like to apply this to the rest of the years in my baseline. I can do this by selecting each individual box, or if I wanted to select all of them, I could select this button to the left of the green check mark. This green check mark indicates that we are copying data from the year 2010 for my default herd to the rest of these years that are checked off in blue. Any year that has a red box around it, like this temporary stack year 2010, indicates that there's already data in that year. But what I would like to do is I would like to copy the data from this 2010 default herd to my temporary stack, but just that one, because I'm going to make a modification to our manure management for the temporary stack. So I'm going to select copy and continue. When you select copy and continue, because we have already entered data for all of our one herds, we are prompted to go on to the future management scenario, but I'm going to select close so we can keep editing our temporary stack. So if you remember that our two herds were managed differently only by how their manure was managed, so I'm going to go to temporary stack, and I'm still on the year 2010, and all of the data from my default herd, I copied it over to here. So now I'd like to go in and make my management change. So that would be the manure system types. And I would like to change this herd from the composting to the temporary stack. So I'm going to select save and continue to update the manure systems detail page. And everything else is going to stay the same. And my manure details page is already updated. So now we are on the last pane of our animal characteristics for our temporary stack herd. When we select save and continue at the bottom, you'll be prompted with a window that lets you know that your current management has been defined for the current year of the baseline, which is 2010. So I'm going to go to the copy feature. So on this copy window, we can see that all of my baseline years for my first default herd have been populated with data. That happened on our first copy event. And now we would like to copy all of our data from the year 2010 for this temporary stack file, because we just made the change from a compost to a temporary stack file. And we would like to copy that to all of the remaining years in the baseline. So you can either select each individual box, or we can select the select button to select all of the years in the baseline. I'm going to select copy and continue. Once you copy over the data, you're going to be prompted again with that first management scenario opportunity. So I'm going to select close because I would like to demonstrate, just to show you that there is in fact data in these activity years here. So I've got year 2013, and I've got two herds here, and I'm going to go to a random page just to make sure it's got information there. I'm going to go to housing details, and if you notice when you go back to housing details, this switches to the first herd, so there's definitely something in there for the first herd. I'm going to check the temporary stack file, and we have data entered there, and we can go check our manure system type as well. And it jumps back to the default herd, so make sure you pay attention to which herd you are currently on, and then we'll check the temporary stack pile as well, and it has been modified because of our copy feature. If you have any questions along your Comet Farm journey, you can check this help desk widget for solution articles for commonly asked questions, and if you still can't find your answer, then you can contact us directly through this widget. On behalf of the Comet Farm team, I'd like to thank you for listening.